4,
Punch! 6,
4.
punch!
Hello there, peoples. Welcome to 614 Punch, the podcast about those who like to bring on the beatdown here in Columbus. I'm your host, Felicia, aka Catgirl Princess, and today I am joined by my good friend Travis, aka Perfidious Sinn.
How's everybody going?
It's going great. How are you doing today, dude?
So we actually postponed this because you were sick earlier this week.
Yeah.
And couldn't record, and now I feel like I'm getting a little sick. I'm sipping some tea though to get over it, so hopefully my voice isn't too horrible.
No, your voice sounds all right.
That's good tea.
What kind of tea are you drinking? Are you judging by your Discord icon that the audience can't see, obviously? Are you drinking Snapple?
No, that Snapple's like weirdly difficult to find. I just had some hot chai tea here.
Oh, that works. That's definitely going to be better for your voice.
Yeah, not as much sugar to like the sugar grains to grind down my throat more. It's probably not a good idea.
But also just hot tea and honey. You know, it's like a cliche answer, but every vocal coach I've ever had has said that that's a key thing.
My dad always did. My dad said his remedy for a sore throat was always you do like just get some hot water, like as hot as you can stand it, and put salt in it and just drink that. And I don't know if that's a real thing. That might be a wives' tale. I don't know if that works.
I've heard of that for like if you're having gum issues, like your gums with your
like
teeth.
inflamed gums and stuff.
Yeah, not like chewing gum, but I've never heard of that for your throat.
Yeah, I don't know if that works exactly. So I'm just doing old hot tea.
Yeah, hot tea works. And speaking of hot tea, though not really speaking of hot tea, why don't we get the show started? So why don't we begin by saying, Travis, what do you primarily... So we're both competitive fighting game players, but I know you've been playing a lot longer than I have. About how long have you been playing?
I officially started when Skullgirls came out in 2009. That was like the first time I got into fighting games. I was so drawn to the art style of that game. It looked so cool. So when it came out, I bought the game and I bought my first stick and I started competing. So yeah,
Nice.
2009. That's 10 years now. Yeah.
What games do you typically play?
Right now, I'm playing seriously. I'm playing Tekken 7 and Dead or Alive 6, and a little tiny bit on the side. I'm getting back into Under Night and Birth just because that's a very enjoyable game.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have been playing Under Night lately.
Oh wait, I was
Especially with
wrong.
it being at EVO.
Skullgirls was actually 2012, so I've been competing for about 7 years then.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I thought Skullgirls came in 2009 as well. I guess I got that mixed up too.
Yeah, I don't know what
yeah,
happened there.
2012 sounds about right. For me, I primarily play Tekken 7 as well, and I also play Virtua Fighter, trying to get stuff happening in CBUS, especially since I'll be hosting the Virtua Fighter 5 side tournament at Combo Breaker, which
nice.
I'm excited for, but I'm kind of nervous because apparently this is the first time Virtua Fighter has had a tournament at Combo Breaker, which I didn't think was the case even for side tournaments. So I'm like, okay, there's a bit of pressure here.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising to me, considering there are a lot of people who play Virtua Fighter.
It is a lot of fun.
Combo Breaker's only been around for, I feel like this would be its 4th or 5th year though.
Yeah, I think you're right. So it's probably not as shocking as I think. But Virtua Fighter is a game that I've heard of like Japanese players flying into America for one weekend just to play Virtua Fighter.
That's sweet.
Yeah. It's really big over there. So you've been playing for for like 7 years. You primarily play 3D fighters. I've only been playing fighters competitively for about 2 years and play primarily 3D fighters as well. But we both kind of ended up at the same place. Well, we both, I guess before we get into where we play, why don't we start, how and when did you discover Columbus's fighting game community?
You know, I don't know, I kind of just really stumbled upon it. I believe I was on the Shoryuken forums back in like, it was before Skullgirls came out, so it was like 2011, 2010.
Okay.
I was on the Shoryuken forums and I just looked up, hey, what are just like local fighting game scenes? And they have a huge thread where it's just like, boom, everybody list your scene, like list the info, where it's at, the time. And I just looked under Ohio and they said, just go to our Facebook group. And yeah, luckily like people were active on Shoryuken before their forums died. So that the forums there led me to the Columbus Fighting Games group, and that's how I got into it.
All right, and was OSU Donato's happening at that point, or was there like something else going on?
It's always been Donato's for as long as I know. I gotta be honest, I don't know exactly when I started playing there. I would say it would be around 2012 or 13. But yeah, that was the only local scene aside from college. That was the only local scene that I was into.
Makes sense. I wasn't on any message boards or anything, but I discovered Columbus's fighting scene. Like I saw people playing in like lounges at like Columbus State, but I specifically remember my friend Jacob inviting me to go to Donato's for a Smash night. It was this was like early last year or like the year beforehand, because like a top Smash player was visiting, so the crowd was huge, and it was cool checking it out. But I honestly had more fun playing with the Street Fighter V crew on the other side of the room.
Right.
I guess because they let me do commentary, but that was kind of the start of it. Donato's, and then later discovering Bursts and Brews when I asked the people at level 1, which used to be close to where I lived, hey, can I host fighting game stuff here? And they were like, well, there's already fighting game stuff here. Why don't you come check it out? That was how I got into it.
Nice.
So now let's go into Donato's. We definitely got to go into it in detail. It is where I'd say at least 60% of the fighting game action in Columbus happens.
Oh yeah, probably higher than that. Like for weekly stuff, yeah, probably like 70, 75. I guess if we're not counting Smash, because Smash has their own venue.
Yeah. I mean, Smash does happen at Donato's, but so for those listening that aren't aware, every Tuesday night at the Donato's location on OSU campus, there is a party room in the basement, and on Tuesdays, starting around 6 o'clock, we get to bring in our setups and we just play whatever. You know, people bring their own games and play that, and then people like Kyle, the Keister, our main host, and Zion will host tournaments, oftentimes for games like Street Fighter, Tekken, and whatnot. It's definitely where, I already said this, like a lot of stuff happens, but it's a nice room with a nice venue.
Yeah, it's actually the basement of Donato's is actually a when we're not there on Tuesdays, they use it for bands and stuff will perform down there. So it's kind of like a stage setup, and there's a bar down there. But I don't think the weird thing is like I've been to Donato's for so long, but I've never actually been when there's a concert. I'm literally only there for fighting game stuff.
Same here. I've it's funny with how often I used to go to local concerts. I never once saw one at Donato's. I knew it was a venue, but I most often was at like the basement or other venues like that.
Yeah,
so
apparently
sorry,
there's
go on.
Yeah, apparently there's a bar down there. There's like the thing with Red Bulls and cases of beer, but I've just never been. I've never been there while they're actually having some kind of performance night. I actually want to look that up and see what it's like when there's like when there's not 50 people playing fighting games and there's just normal people down there.
By normal people, you mean like 50 people that'll be probably slam dancing and jumping around like maniacs.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a good thing they remodeled the basement. It's a little bit more open space. It makes it a whole lot easier to put in tables and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. That was it looked the same for, I'd say, since I came there in 2012 until just this year. They remodeled it, which is really good. It gives us more open space, and we don't have to worry about bumping into columns and stuff.
What do you think are some of your favorite experiences you've had at OSU Donato's?
The most fun I've ever had is when we have, so like fighting games at this point basically are coming out every other month, but
yeah,
the most fun I've ever had is two different I think it was 2 or 3 different times I ran week 1 tournaments, and those are so much fun because we get people who we get people who like normally wouldn't play fighting games or just like there to hang out or just like they play Smash, they don't play regular fighting games. They oh, no offense to Smash. Smash is a fighting game, it's just not a regular fighting game.
No, I
don't wanna-
totally get what you're saying.
Don't blow me up for that.
I'd say I could to call games like Smash platformer fighters. But anyways, carry on.
But yeah, people who don't normally play R-type fighting games for the week 1 tournaments, they'll come like, yo, this is a new game. Like everybody's gonna come over and play it. It's gonna be great. I remember we had one for week 1 of Guilty Gear Exerd. I don't know if it was Exerd or Rev 2, but I ran one of those tournaments.
That sounds like fun.
We had a really big week 1 tournament for Injustice 2, and we had a big week 1 tournament for Mortal Kombat X. And those were like just like seeing people I don't normally see come to the weekly tournaments. That's the most fun to me. I love the week 1 tournaments.
That is pretty great. Hold on, you did the same for Dead or Alive 6 recently, right?
Yep, Dead or Alive 6 just came out it was this month. Yeah, earlier this month, and I ran a week 1 tournament for that. And that was really great.
So that means you've done 4.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other moments that have stood out to you?
I'm not running the one for Mortal Kombat 11 though. I'm passing the buck this time. I can't do 2 in 1 year. It's a little stressful.
Gotcha.
I don't know, man. Just running the. I just like having casuals after the tournament is always the most fun to me.
Oh yeah, casuals are great.
Mm.
You know I feel so incredibly lucky, and I mean, especially being a transgender woman, I've heard of horror stories of so many scenes of people just not being brought in with open arms, or they're like, "This is our scene, you stay out." But like, you ask anybody for casuals in anything at Donato's, and people are very likely to let you play. Like one of my most favorite memories of Donato's was when I was kind of frustrated not finding a lot of people to play Guilty Gear with, and I saw Zion hosting Tekken 7, and when I asked if I could join, he was just like, "Yeah, come on, just play." And that was really memorable for me. I was still just trying to figure the game out, but it led to me discovering probably my favorite fighting game series of all time.
Well, that's because all of us tournament organizers have huge egos, and we just want those numbers up. We just want as many people on. So we got to brag on Twitter, like, "Yeah, I ran a 25-man tournament." I'm kidding. That's extremely stressful. I don't like running that many people.
I know that can't. I mean, I haven't run a tournament that big yet, but trying to keep everything organized, especially when there's like equipment failures or not enough setups, that's always fun.
For sure.
You got to give Zion and Keist a lot of credit for what they do.
Oh yeah. They're running like multiple tournaments every week, like not every other week, every week. Yeah.
So you definitely have to give. They're definitely. I guess we might as well talk about them a little bit. Talk about Zion and Keist and them running the events, because you can't really have Donato's without them.
Right. Yeah. They've. I know Keist is an OG. He's been there forever. He ran Smash, and then he started running Street Fighter. Now he's running Tekken, but he's had more years of TO experience, I think, than I've been playing fighting games. Probably that's probably a fair bet.
Yeah, he's also just one of the sweetest human beings, but he's also very into making sure events run right. Like, and I'm not saying this to make him sound bad, but one time I asked if I could help out with a tournament, and he said, "I'd want to show you a few things before I let you do that." But that was only because he wanted to make sure everything could run smooth as possible, and he does that with Donato's. He's done that with some other events like Tekken Caliber. He just wants it to be the best experience for everybody.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. And also, Zion, he's newer to the TO game. I don't know what he did before Donato's, but he used to just play, and now he actually runs the tournaments for Tekken and Soul Calibur, and I think he helps run out BB Tag when necessary. But yeah, I got a little respect for him actually stepping up to both play the games and run the tournaments every week.
Yeah, I think the thing about Zion is he's got a lot of enthusiasm for the game, and that goes into TOing. He knows how to bring that in. I think without him, we probably wouldn't have had Soul Calibur be as big regularly, because do you remember in the weeks leading up to Soul Calibur 6, he brought in his PS3 with Soul Calibur 2 HD and was hosting weeklies for that?
Yeah. There's actually a good amount of people like he just randomly said, "Hey, Soul Calibur 6 is coming out. Let's play 2." And he actually got a fair amount of people for a couple weeks.
I know. That was a lot of fun. As soon as I bought a PS3, which I got for cheap somehow at half price books, I immediately bought Soul Calibur 2 HD just so I could be more practiced, go in and have a lot of fun. But yeah, Zion he has this this energy that really helps make OSU Donatos. Like if it's almost like how do I put this? Keist is a cool dude, but he's good at like keeping things going behind the scenes, knows how to get everybody involved, running the event. And Zion is like the guy who just truly gets the event moving. It's like if Keist is the engine, Zion is the car itself, and it's cool to see how well the two work together and help make OSU Donato something special.
Yeah. Also, I call Zion to like if I need to call for signups, I call for him because he can scream a lot louder than I can. So,
he's got a voice.
Yeah, he's pretty reliable for that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the only other big thing that I know we've both been involved in, but it's also one of the bigger scenes in Columbus, is Burst and Brews over at Level 1. So I figured we should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been in a while just because of my new work schedule, but I really enjoy Burst and Brews. Burst and Brews is the anime weekly. They do 2 games a week. They'll run like Dragon Ball and Under Night, and then they'll do another week with Blaze Blue, Vampire Savior, and Guilty Gear. So they have like a rotation of like 4 or 5 anime games that they run.
Do you remember how you initially discovered Burst and Brews? I mean, I know I did by just talking to the staff at the bar, not realizing what was going on. I don't know about your case.
Yeah, I think it's just because I knew Compy, Matt Compson, who runs Burst and Brews. I saw him a lot at the Street Fighter locals, and then he showed up occasionally for Donato's locals. And he started promoting Burst and Brews when it started up. It's like, oh, okay, I'll go check this out.
Yeah, when was that? That was like, I mean, it started before I started playing fighting games competitively, but that was like 2-3 years ago, wasn't it? That he started doing.
I think Burst and Brews might have started about 2 years ago at Level 1. Oh yeah, Burst. I don't know if we said, but Burst and Brews is actually a different venue from Donato's. It is a Level 1 bar and arcade down in wherever it is, because I'm bad at directions. I don't know where.
Kind of the Worthington area. If y'all know where Marcus Crosswood Cinema is, it's almost next door to that. So check out a movie on the Ultra screen and then go to Level 1 for drinks and video games.
Oh, those seats are so nice.
Yeah. But they don't help when you watch a terrible, terrible movie. Like, I remember I saw Resident Evil, the final chapter in the theater, got motion sick several times. But then afterwards, me and my buddy I went with, we played Mortal Kombat and had drinks afterwards at Level 1, so it was better.
Nice. Do those chairs move at that movie theater?
Yeah, they do. There's a button.
Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you've ever been to a D-Box cinema, but they actually they sync it up to the movie, so your chair physically vibrates and like moves around with the action.
Oh,
I don't know if I like that. I feel like I would get sick.
Yeah, I probably would either. It sounds like Star Tours. But anyways, back to Burst and Brews. So Burst and Brews, it's all anime fighters. So like I said, so like Travis mentioned, there's been Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue. The Under Night scene really grew thanks to that. And then recently, Compy's been wanting to bring back some older games. He mostly focused on the newer ones in anime for a bit, but he's been wanting to bring back Guilty Gear, Accent Core Plus R, and Vampire Savior for a while. And then he finally said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Which I think is a cool thing about Compy. He's, a lot of people say just play the games you love. Don't worry about anybody else says. But he's like the embodiment of that statement. He doesn't know, like, he'll host a game even if he doesn't play it. But when he really wants to promote a game, he's like, I'm hosting VSAV. Let's get people out here for it.
He's a shill. He just wants to shill all of his old people games. Get everybody to play Vampire Savior. And I respect it. I respect shilling.
Vampire Savior is a lot of fun, though. I absolutely love that game. And then Accent Core is also pretty cool.
Yeah, apparently they're getting good numbers like at the weekly, which is really awesome for like 10 plus year old games. They're still getting big brackets for it, which is really cool.
it's one of those games like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike that I don't think anybody will probably ever stop playing. Like there are just some games like Super Turbo, like Third Strike, VSAV, or some of the King of Fighters 98 that nobody will ever truly stop playing because there's always going to be something that makes you keep coming back for more.
Oh yeah, they're classics. They're classics for a reason.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of your favorite moments at Burst and Brews?
The one that's going to immediately pop out in my head is the biggest tournament I've ever seen. There was week 1 of Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh my god, yes.
They don't have a capacity, but we probably hit capacity. There were so many. Did you go to that?
I think I was there. I
There
remember
was way
the
too
crowds
many people there.
I remember the crowds being huge for Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it was enormous. Like it was like I had to do my match and then just like walk away and walk over to the bar because it's not equipped to have that many people, I think. But
especially not in that corner, especially when there were a few pinball machines there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that one really stood out to me. I'm trying to think some other moments that stand out. I think maybe this isn't a big one for a lot of people, but there were a couple weeks where it was slower, and then why can't I remember? And then some of the people would be like Suna would actually show me tricks in games I'd never played before. I heard some of the phrases I'd never heard before in anime fighters, which was cool for somebody who was still relatively new to competitive play. There was also the one time that I think only 8 people showed up. So Compy said, screw it. I'm going to bring out Fighting Layer. Well,
yeah.
Wait, no, not Fighting Layer, Fighting Climax.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, which is definitely a very different game, which the only thing I knew about it before jumping in was that Jun Sonoe, who most people know as the guitarist in Crush 40. Yeah, he's done quite the number of non-Sonic soundtracks, and that was one of them. I'm pretty sure some of the tunes are in his second compilation album, but I'd have to double check on that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So that's fun. It's... I don't know how to describe the atmosphere. Like, Donato's can be intense, but it's still laid back at times, but when the people go to Burst and Brews, you know they're serious, because anime fighters are super complex, super crazy, so when you see people there, you know stuff's going down.
For sure. Oh, another, it wasn't exactly at a weekly Burst and Brews tournament, but Compy's also held 2 like larger regional events, I'd say, for Under Night and one for Guilty Gear. I forget the name of them, but it was really cool that a lot of people came out for the last one for Under Night and Birth. We had people travel from like Michigan, Kentucky, Florida just to come to Ohio for this big Under Night tournament, and that was one of the most fun. I didn't play, but I did commentary for the whole event, and that was one of the most fun events I've ever commentated at.
I think it's just always fun, and I guess this applies to Donato's as well. When we get some people from out of state visiting or just out of town, that's always fun.
Yeah, because it's pretty rare, and they kind of like announce it in the Facebook chat, like, we're dropping here soon.
Yeah,
be prepared. Coming soon, 4/2/2019.
Yes, Columbus is free. Fight me.
Yes, I love that. And also, I do have to mention that for both of those big Guilty Gear and Under Night regional events, Columbus didn't win. So
yeah, we've got some things to work on.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about some of the other like events and maybe weeklies or monthlies that we've attended? Just some other things that we think define the Columbus scene.
Oh yeah, we did bring up the Monday tournament. At Monday at 16-Bit Bar and Arcade, they have a big Street Fighter V tournament every single week.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the first locals I went to on a regular basis for a while, and then my job at the time got so busy I did not have Monday nights free. But that's another fun one. Definitely kind of laid back, but still competitive. Time.
So Donato's is like kind of variety hour. We have 2 tournaments a week typically, but we'll have basically every game there. 16-bit is almost exclusively Street Fighter. It takes place in a barcade, and they have like a commentary and a stream setup every week, and they just go and grind out Street Fighter, and it's really cool.
I mean, that's kind of like Bursts and Brews. Compy has a great streaming setup.
Mhm.
He'll let people jump on and do the commentary. There's a lot going on. But yeah, the Street Fighter scene is, I've heard mixed things about Street Fighter 5, but you can't deny the passion that a lot of players have for the game. And it was fun the first week I went and people were showing me how to play and then watching like the hype plays that same night. That was pretty cool.
But yeah, I like that scene is at 16-bit is very, very concentrated. It's basically only Street Fighter. So I don't play Street Fighter much anymore, but I would just go to hang out, and they have a really, really good drink that I like called the Macho Man, which is
What's in it?
honey bourbon, Coke, and a Slim Jim, because he did the Slim Jim commercials. Yeah, it's
That's
really
I
I
don't know
just
what
go
to
to
think.
that tournament for that drink sometimes.
Goodness gracious. I don't drink alcohol in any form, so that already sounds bizarre, but throw in the Slim Jim and it's just like, yeesh, what are they thinking?
You ever do that thing where you have a Twizzler and you bite off both ends and you kind of drink your drink with a Twizzler straw?
I've heard of it. I've never tried it.
Okay, you
But
got
I
to try
don't think
that. It'll
I
change
don't
your
think it would
life.
work well though.
It'll
Just the
change your life slightly.
okay. Yeah, only other major events I've really gone to. This isn't a monthly, but it's a bi-monthly called Tekken Caliber, which is a recent addition to Ohio's scene, to Columbus's scene, co-hosted by Zion and Keist, and it's just all Tekken and Soul Calibur, nothing else, and
Yep,
it's a
even
lot of fun.
and it's not just the new Tekken games and Soul Calibur games. They'll typically go and have a side tournament for Soul Calibur 2, and
Mhm.
we usually just do Tag 2. I don't know if they're doing a Tekken 5 or anything like that.
Yeah, we did Tag 1 the first time. We were gonna do Tag 2 the second time, but so few people signed up for it that it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it's a
But
terrible game, but move on.
But also the weather was really bad that day, so some of the people that said they would have come in and played it weren't going to be there anyways.
Right.
Yeah, you remember how nasty the weather was that day?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. It's just mixing the old and the new, but have it be just 3D fighters, because especially in the competitive space, 3D fighters are very much overlooked by 2D fighters. So it's cool to have a just 3D fighters event.
Yeah, that's one of kind of like how Burst and Bruce had their big regional for Under Night. We have our big regional for Tekken and Soul Calibur now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting a lot of competition, especially from Cleveland and Cincy for Tekken. We still gotta find a way to school Sheena after she wiped the floor with us at a Salty Sunday.
Yeah, I doubt that'll happen again. Everybody's getting a lot better.
Yeah,
That was a fluke.
yeah. Should we talk about Salty Sunday a bit?
I was not there, so I would have to refer to your expertise on that.
Well, have you ever been to? I know Keith has hosted it a few times.
Yeah, I have not been to one yet.
Oh, okay. So Salty Sunday is probably one of my favorite things we've come up with. It's only happened 3 times. It used to be annual, then it stopped for a little bit, and then came back earlier this year. Though Keith thinks he'd like to do it maybe 2 times a year if possible. The idea is it's the moment where people can finally settle their salt, so to speak. They can say, I challenge you to this, and we're going to bet this much money. So we were doing things like first to fives for $5. Beat me with this character, and then winner gets this money. Keith was like going around just betting quarters for silly things, but I was betting I bet against Fuyu, one of our best Tekken players. I bet 20 against him in a first of 5, which I didn't win, but it was still one heck of an experience. And it was fun to see the different bets and the different stakes. Like Infamous Kev had a pick. He and I forget who it was he fought. The loser had to play whoever the winner told them they had to main for a month, and then
Oh,
Kev lost.
I thought that was when Ryan H lost and he had to play Marduk for a month.
Okay, was it the other way around? I thought it was Kev that
I know Ryan
lost.
H definitely lost a bet and he had to switch off his main for a month.
I'd have to double check on that, but that was such a unique event. I think just because because there's no specific tournaments, it was a lot easier for people to just finally settle the score or just try out some other games casually, which was one of Keith's goals with it. I mean, if you watch his videos on YouTube, you can get a better idea of it. But it's a fun event, and I can't wait for the next one, and I hope I don't catch a cold right before it happens again, which is what happened to me last time.
So Salty Sunday is basically a bunch of sanctioned money matches.
Yeah. Well,
Gotcha.
also people have bet other things. Like I think after Key's birthday party and the push-up sets we did, people are going to start betting push-ups at events.
Oh, I will totally do a push-up set. I will totally bet that you loser does 20 push-ups.
Good lord. I lost 3 sets where the loser had to
I'm
do
into
20
that.
push-ups that same night. I could
Nice.
feel it in my abs for a week.
Yeah. I would lose on purpose. I love doing push-ups.
I know. I was also saying, we also were throwing around like, what's it called where you have your back to the wall and you're like trying to stay in what's essentially a sitting position for a minute?
Just a wall sit?
A wall sit, yeah. At one point,
Yeah.
Max was, Fuyu was betting those. That was kind of funny.
Yeah,
I
that's a
guess
good
Yeah, that's a good bet. So I guess the only other thing I want to bring up is, well, are there any other events, any other series, or anything else you just want to bring up in general from Columbus's scene?
no, I think we covered most of it. I know Smash is at Donato's every week. But they also have their own they have their own venue called Ruby Tuesdays where they play there.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I honestly can't get serious about Smash. I had a couple things that made me go, maybe if they tried this or tried that, I'd do it. But then after what happened at Genesis earlier this year with Axe versus Hungry Box, I was like, okay, I cannot take this community seriously ever again.
I just know that I just think it's cool that we have so many different scenes that are like, we have a scene that's just Street Fighter, then we have Donato's, which is a little bit of everything, like mostly 3D games at this point. Then we have Burst and Bruise, which is all anime, and then we also have the Ruby Tuesdays, which is just Smash. But it's so cool. Like if you look in Ohio, you can find your scene for your game.
And even if you can't find a scene for your game, you could probably get some people interested at OSU Donato's, or maybe find another venue.
Go to Donato's, have a setup. Somebody will play with you for sure.
And I guess that leads me to the next point I wanted to discuss. What advice would you give to somebody living in Columbus who wants to get into the scene? Like, what expectations should they set in their minds? What should they do like the first time they go out to an event?
Well, first of all, bring your own controller, because I cannot guarantee that we're going to have one. We've
Exactly.
had controller shortage issues lately, and if you can find the Facebook group, basically you can post on there whenever and say, hey, I play this game. Who wants to play? You can find people who want to play locally. You can find people on NetPlay. You just gotta, just get out of your shell a little bit and just say, yo, I want to play this game. And I can make it to Donato's. Who wants to play? And I guarantee you'll find somebody who play with you.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely you would definitely agree with that. You gotta get out of your shell. You do. I think this is something most people don't understand. Like, why, especially when people say things like, "Why go to events or go to tournaments when you know you're going to lose?" It's for the experience. And the people that go 2-0 at these events and whatnot are already doing better than the people that don't go at all, because they're breaking out of the comfort zone of being in their house or their gaming space, which is very much a controlled space, and going out in the wild. So that's definitely, you'll definitely have to work on your social skills if needed, which I know I had to. I'd also say definitely don't be afraid to ask people for casuals or for help. I mean, there are some people that unfortunately won't, but I think most of the time people are very happy to help you figure out things in a game. You just gotta be open. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, don't be afraid to say call next, or like, who's playing.
And also, if you're going to Donato's, good luck parking. Make sure you know the parking around the area, because it is awful.
Yeah, we've actually had issues with like new people showing up lately, where please, if you're coming and you're in the Facebook group, look at the map. The map will help you so much.
Oh man, I had to, especially since I've been working on Tuesdays again. Everything starts at like 6. The events start at 8, but I get off at 7. There's oftentimes no parking left on the street right next to the Donato's. I have actually had to go a couple streets over to a different spot, and haul my setup in a big suitcase across a couple streets just to get to the venue. So definitely know the parking around the area.
Yeah, for sure. If you can show up earlier than you think you want to, because there will be more open spots. I guess
Definitely.
that's our big advice. Have a controller.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be shy,
Yeah,
and get there early for parking spots.
definitely. Definitely. Like at level 1 and 16-bit, it's not nearly as much of an issue, but Donato's is kind of infamous for its parking. As somebody who's got multiple tickets parking around there, I could definitely assure you of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as bad for Tech and Caliber, but there's still not nearly as much parking space there as some at close quarters where that takes place as some other venues I've gone to.
Yeah, parking's always going to be an issue, especially in Ohio.
Hmm. I mean, we were recently found to be the 5th worst state in the nation for driving, which makes a lot of sense.
That does not surprise me at all.
It really doesn't.
Yes, that seems about where we'd stand.
So is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to say about the scene? Anything else you want to share about it?
I just want more people to come out. I just want to plug. Just go on Facebook, look up CFG Columbus Fighting Games, and come through. We also got a Discord channel, which is the same CFG Columbus Fighting Games. You might need to get in the Facebook to get in the Discord, if you like that. But yeah, just look it up. You'll find people to play. I promise.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, and don't worry about people saying you're not a good player. There's a lot of people who just want to help you grow. As Zion puts it, he just always says, if somebody wants to play, let him in. And that's always been his mentality, and I know a lot of other people are the same.
Yep.
Well, I guess with that then, this has been Catgirl Princess, and
This has been Perfidious Sinn.
saying thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time in the 614.
I know that you'll be back.